Hi everyone, I am Toby and welcome to my channel, Toby Urban Sketch. So today we're doing a really fun sketching process, and one you may or may not have tried before, but if you haven't, you really need to go out and give it a go. So what are we using? We are using just three things. We're using normal fountain pen with normal ink in, no fancy ink, just normal document ink, a sketchbook, a water brush, and with that, in three simple steps, we'll create amazing art. My challenge to you is, if you want, then this is the technique to take your first steps in sketching outside with. Here's a couple of photos as I sketched outside the other day using this technique. As ever, amazing having you here on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. If you would like to see more of my in-depth courses, then come across to Skillshare or sketchloose.co.uk, links below. But otherwise, let's crack on with this super simple, super fun sketching technique. So the first thing I want to do is just show you the three things that we need to create interesting tonal sketches like this. And I'll just show you a couple of examples and I can explain what I used for each of them. So for this sketch, this is a little street in St Neots, and all I did is I took my Lamy Safari pen with a medium nib and some black Lamy Safari ink. Did a quick outline, and then I used my water brush, a little brush with a little water reservoir in, to create a bit of tone. And then I added a few finishing touches. And that's our three steps for our process. And it took about 10 minutes or a bit less to create this. Equally, I've got another couple in here. So behind I've got this, another street in St Neots. Funnily enough, that's where I live, that's where I love sketching. And this one I did with my lovely red pink pen. And this has got some combi ink in. You can see that really beautiful pink reddy tinge that produces. And then there's a couple more in here. So I've got this one on this side. And here I had a load of splashes. This is a tutorial I did on YouTube a while ago. There are a load of splashes on here. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to add some fun on top of that. And you can see some photos I took while I was doing this. I actually did this sketch outside, out and about. And then we can do another one. So this is a little still life. This is a still life of my alcohol cupboard, funnily enough. At the end of this video, I'll do a little demonstration of this as well, just as a speed sketch, so you can get the idea of how to apply these same skills to a still life type scene. So that's all that you need. You need three things. You need a bit of surface. I'm using my Moleskine watercolour sketchbook. You need a pen with soluble normal document ink, and you need some kind of brush. And a water brush is brilliant because it's got the water already in there, but equally you could just have a big old tub of water, and you could, or a little tub of water, and a normal brush. So how are we going to apply that process? Well, I've got a little photo up here, and it's a relatively, well actually you could probably say it's a relatively boring scene, but I think in this style it's going to be really interesting. And we can do it in three steps, 3 bits of equipment, 3 steps, nice and easy. So the first step is all about simplification. Now with this technique like this, there's a really neat way we can simplify. So if I just start on one side of the image, what we can do is we can start by drawing a horizon line. And so we can come down and we can literally get, I said horizon line, but I mean silhouette really, and we can get the silhouette of this scene. It doesn't have to be perfect, but what we're just trying to get is those key features, those bits which are really standing up and standing out to us. There's a lamppost. Now I'm going to leave that lamppost. So little things like lamppost, telephone wires, they get left till the end in this style, and that'll become evident why shortly. But the key big silhouettes, these big structures, we can find now and sketch in now. And then having gone across, we've got that key silhouette, what we can do, we can come across and find the shapes which are underneath our silhouette. So we've got like this rhomboid here, we've got this little parallelogram, we've got inside the shapes, you've got like a door, which is a rectangle, got a window. You don't have to join everything up like I am, but that's what I like doing, so that is what I'm going to do. But you could just be finding these shapes separately, of course. And then behind here we've got another square, rectangle, going on to another one and another one. And it doesn't matter if we're precise, imprecise, you know, at this stage we're being loose and happy and enjoying and just seeing what happens. And then we can come down and get our last little shape from this building, and of course just a couple of curve marks. And, does it look like the scene? Yes, it does. It looks like the scene. It looks like a very, very simple version of the scene. And that's all we need. And that, believe it or not, that's step one. And I don't know how long that took, but probably a minute and a half. And this is where you can imagine carrying around your sketchbook, holding it in your hand with one hand, and you've got a pocket for your pen, a pocket for your water brush, and you can easily do this out and about. So, what are we going to do next? Well, we're going to activate that ink, and when I say activate, I mean apply some water. And apply some water with a little bit of thought, a little bit of thinking. So if you squint, you'll find the darkest areas. So that's what we'll do. We'll squint, find the darkest areas, and then look what happens as we activate our ink. Just like magic, we create those darkest areas. Now look how this tree is really bright. It's in the foreground. So why don't we leave that as negative space and then come behind it to these other dark areas. And what we're doing, we're just trying to grab the ink that we've laid down on the page and activate it, pull it down. And we can get things like these shadows going across. We can pull some water. So if we give our brush a squeeze, we can pull water and then move it around. And, just like with watercolours, suddenly you'll find the ink will move itself and will create fascinating textures which you, or I at least, maybe you're perfect, but for me, I can't create these textures on purpose. I can just create the conditions under which these amazing media will do their thing, will become magic, will become really interesting. And how quick was that? If we just add a little bit of this tone into the windows and maybe a little bit onto this roof, lost my words for a bit, maybe we can find a shadow under this eave, and we can call this done. We can call this done already. That is, another minute and a half? So again, you can really see how quick and fun and interesting this sort of this technique is. Now, what we're going to do next? Well, it is time for finishing touches. Already finishing touches. So, coming back to the pen. Now we're going to be using a bit of pen, a bit of brush, and trying a couple of different things out. We've still got some wet areas on the page, so let's use them. What happens if we bring our pen through those wet areas? We're going to get different textures. Something a bit like, look at that, something a bit like the rough texture of tarmac, perhaps. So we can use the natural looseness of water to create some of the textures that we want to create. Now looking back here, we can pick out that there's quite a lot more darkness. There's a little more complexity going on under here than we gave it credit for. So we can actually pick out some of the smaller shapes. We can do some gentle hatching to create even more darkness. We can find some of these other little trees as well. And what we're effectively doing is we're going to be layering our ink, because as we come on to our next sort of touch of the water brush, all this ink, what we're doing, we're putting ink on the page that we can then use for our brush. We could bring in the bottom of this building in a couple of places. There's another window I didn't add in the first time. And we can load up some more ink here just to deepen some shadows as well. Then we've got this fun little sign as well. So let's pop that little sign in. And we're ready to go back to our water brush. Oh, dropping everything. So what we're going to do, we're going to squint, and then we're going to create that second layer of darkness. So we can now just create a bit more shape in some of these dark areas. So perhaps we don't want a monotone darkness. We want a dark, a medium, and a light. And that's what we can do. So by loading the page, by working in layers, doing it in these three really quite simple steps, we can suddenly create this layered effect where we get a lot more variation than we might expect just from such a really quick and simple process. Let's add a little bit of tone into this sign. And maybe we want to, I said there'd be a few different ways of doing things, didn't I? So maybe we want to do another way of adding even darker tone. What we can do, we can come in, grab a bit of ink straight from our pen. Now we can find some real shadows. Just pop them in there. People often want to know if this is going to damage your pen. Well, I do this a lot, and I'm gentle with it. I don't try too hard to force the pen to do anything. And has it damaged my pen? So far, not that I'm aware of. I wouldn't do it with a very expensive pen, but if you're gentle, the touch of a brush, of a water brush, isn't going to be more harming than the touch of paper. I wouldn't have thought. But there you go. That's my experience, at least. Just a few more little touches of dark in a few places. And what I want to do now is finish it off. And when we look at it, what are we thinking? What do we think we see? We've got this bright building, great. We've got this dark background, but there's also something missing. There's this like moody sky missing. So let's have a bit of fun. Let's take, this has actually got some brown ink. This is my absolute brown ink here. Let's take that and let's just try something different. And again, what we can do, we can use our brush on here and we can flick. And now we can get that moody sky feel. And look, we just fill that sky with these splashes. Occasionally my brush is hitting the page, and that's fine. Now a little bit of colour theory here for you is for me at least, if you have a colour in one place, it's nice to balance it by having it in more than one place. So let's use that red to bring out this sign. And maybe let's just say this door's red, and we can even use this red to suggest these double yellow lines, which are sort of the no parking lines. Just bring it in like that. And now I'm going to say that's done. So including talking about everything, including doing a little tour of my recent sketches in this style, this sketch took 11 minutes. 11 minutes just now. Now I'm going to put my initials in and the date for me, which is the 4th of April. And you might want to pop the place in. And why do I say that? Well, because this is, as I said in the introduction, this technique is all about quick, vibrant, and it's so easy to do outside. And whenever I sketch outside, I love just writing the place so that I can remember. That just really grounds me, brings me back to when I did this sketch and helps me go, yeah, I know, I really remember that day vividly. It's so much more functional as a memory, so much more sort of multi-sensory as a memory to me if I've just got these little pointers to remind me about what was going on. So there you go, a sketch in well under 10 minutes using 3 steps, using 3 tools. And then I cheated a bit, didn't I? Because I actually used 4 because I got out a different coloured pen, but you don't need to do that by any means. I just wanted to show you that there's more variety out there than just the black pen. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you do, please like and subscribe. And I also have courses up on Skillshare. You can see the link in the description. Tons of courses there if you want to subscribe, or if you want a little trial, you can use the link. And I also have my own courses to purchase on sketchloose.co.uk, where we do lots of stuff like this, lots of stuff focused on ink, and it's far more in depth than anything that I could hope to produce on YouTube. Either way, it's been a pleasure sketching along with you. I hope you enjoy my YouTube things. Stick with me here. Subscribe if you enjoy my stuff, and I will see you next time. So thank you everyone for watching my little sketching videos. If you enjoy my content, please do subscribe to my channel because it makes me really, really happy. Thanks again.